This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. On this episode of This Week in Gaming, we're diving into Subnautica 2, getting hyped for Clair Obscura Expedition 33, discussing the new reveal of Mistfall Hunter, staying skeptical but impressed with the Squadron 42 movie, trailer, and more. But first, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, he spent 2 hours watching a 1 hour trailer so we could talk about this game for 5 minutes. It's Ryan.
That's dedication and commitment to the cause, brother.
The things we do sometimes for like a little just 5 minute snippet of a story is,
We want to be informed. We gotta get the knowledge in, man.
We're here for the people, Ryan.
Yes.
And if we have to watch an hour-long movie about a game so we can talk about it for a couple minutes, that's what we're gonna do.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So, all right, Ryan, we're going to dive in. We've got a lot to talk about on this episode. We kind of alluded to it. I will say, I think it's a decent week for news this week. We did have the Xbox partner showcase. We had a lot of information. I don't know. What do they call it? CitizenCon or I don't know. Star Citizen had some kind of convention or event, we'll call it, where they showed off gameplay. They talked about the future of the game and stuff like that. It wasn't without its issues, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But we did see a few trailers from the Xbox Partner Showcase that I know got me hyped, and you kind of, sort of, probably not nearly as much hyped, if I had to guess. And then also we have a couple upcoming releases that we're going to chat about as well. I mean, the first one, if we're going chronologically, Ryan, Black Ops 6 releases tomorrow, buddy.
Tomorrow. It's only a day away.
So I guess let's just start there. Are you picking up Black Ops 6? I mean, I know we've kind of talked about this game a few times. You and I, not really Call of Duty dudes, like big time, more Battlefield guys, but let's be honest, that franchise is dead to us at this point. So, any Call of Duty release is like one of the biggest releases of the year, right? Yeah. And I mean, we're a video game podcast. How are we not making a bigger deal about Black Ops 6 right now?
Because it's like a Madden game and it's just the same game re-released over and over.
I think, is it, as we become longer term gamers, we're seasoned gamers at this point, to put it nicely. Do we start to become just a little bit more jaded to the annual release of a game, to where we go, it's just not enough new stuff? I mean, I've watched the trailers for Black Ops 6. I've seen the zombies part of it. I've seen people talking about the campaign. And ultimately, in my brain, none of that really matters. It's just going to be me running through multiplayer maps, trying to just have a good KD ratio.
Yeah.
And while that sounds really fun to me for a weekend or two at most, I think my kind of gamer ADHD brain just goes dude, you're not going to play it for more than 2 weeks.
It knows you.
And so I don't want listeners out there to think that we're crazy, because it's we're not going to do a deep dive on Black Ops 6. Maybe we will. I mean, I'll be honest, we don't really know yet. We're going to talk about another game release that's coming up in a week that I think I'm much more hyped and excited to play and actually do a deep dive on. But I mean, are you wanting to deep dive Black Ops 6?
I wouldn't say that I'm indifferent on it, and I wouldn't say no.
That's the answer we need right here, man. The fact that neither one of us is
well, see, because part of me wants to maybe. I do miss those days. I always loved Battlefield more. I love the big mega games. I love the destructible environments and stuff that it offered. But dude, old school Modern Warfare 2 and old Blops, like those old ones, old zombies, those hold a special place in my heart, and I have a lot of hours playing that. Old Sticks and Stones, like a lot of these old school Call of Duty games. I mean, that's what really put these FPS kind of big time on the map and made gaming as big as it is, because so many people play Call of Duty. If you ask anyone, most people will know Call of Duty, it's a video game. If you ask them kind of what's McDonald's, they know it's a restaurant type thing. So I mean, I wouldn't say no. I think that I probably would get once it's released, the hype meter and the FOMO will go through the roof for me per the usual. And I'll feel like I want to check it out, and maybe I'll dive in and love it. I'm like, dude, we got to cover this. So I'm not saying no, but I'm not super hyped as of right now, but who knows, man? You know how I am.
It's weird to me because Call of Duty Cold War was the first Call of Duty game that I think I've played ever, like in all honesty.
Okay.
And then I remember doing the campaign for that, and I was pretty impressed. I mean, it was a good campaign, and I was like, wow, these games really polished. And then I remember jumping into the multiplayer, and we had 4 or 5 guys at the time that were all playing multiplayer together. So we had, solid teams, and I remember it being a lot of fun, man. The progression with the gun unlocks and the optics and that kind of stuff is always super fun. I mean, they're just tight. Like, they're good multiplayer games. I think in my brain, for people that know me and have been listening to the show for a while, I can't go back to a game that I've already played. Like, legitimately, it just doesn't exist in my brain. Once I've played it, that's it. I want something else new. And I really think that in my brain, I'm having a hard time, like, trying to convince it that this is something new.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if I wanted to play Call of Duty, couldn't I just load up Cold War and hop into the multiplayer on that? And it's going to be the exact same thing?
Close enough, at least.
Well, right. And I know that like Black Ops 6 has like a little bit more modern tech, and you can, if you get the big enough kill streak, you can get a nuke, which is really hard to do and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, that's not enough of a draw to my brain to kind of be like, yes, I want to drop, 60 or I don't know. Are they even charged? That's probably $70 for this game at this point.
Probably so. Yeah.
So I think personally, I'm kind of like you, where if this game comes out and it's all, the world is abuzz about how much fun Black Ops 6 multiplayer is, I think I would get the FOMO too. But I think otherwise, man, I think I'm okay, like not covering it. And I know there's people that are groaning and being like, dude, you guys are crazy, man. It's Call of Duty release. Like, how are you not going to cover this? But I just don't know.
Let's be fair. We probably will end up covering it. Most likely.
Honestly, we probably will.
So did you ever play any zombies?
I did play zombies.
Okay, you did play
Cold
zombies.
Cold War had zombies, and I remember running through that. And I really enjoy zombies because of how difficult it can get. And you really have to be smart and rely on your teammates and stuff like that. So zombies was a good time for me. But it was kind of near the end where we had already done the campaign. We had already played a good bit of multiplayer. And then we were like, oh yeah, like let's check out zombies. And it was fun for a little bit, but then I just kind of petered off, or some other game came out that we jumped into.
Yeah.
So, well, Ryan, here's the problem with this, because if it wasn't for this game, I think we would absolutely be covering Call of Duty Black Ops 6, but there's a game coming out that is a little bit more up our alley, and it releases in 1 week from this episode. And that is a game called Dragon Age Veilguard.
Veilguard.
Veilguard? What? I know. And that's a game that we have also talked about a lot on this show as we have led up to this, but it's like, it's time.
Yeah. It's finally here.
It's time, dude. It's almost here. And it's like, so Veilguard comes out October 31st, 1 week from this episode. And I know that I am much more hyped / curious to jump into Dragon Age Veilguard than I would like Black Ops 6. And I think that's honestly part of the issue is like, we can't play. I mean, I guess we could really play Black Ops 6 for 1 week, do an episode on it, and then jump into Veilguard. But it's like, we're always like very conscious of like, we don't want to talk about a game that we don't feel like we know enough about.
Sure.
for people. And so I think that's the issue there is it's like, I think we'll just wait and then play Veilguard and then see what that game's about, because I know personally I'm much more excited for that.
Yeah.
You said Veilguard, and you have not played any of the Dragon Age games. So
I have
for
not.
you, this may not be as exciting for you because you just don't have that history or that wonder to say, oh my goodness, like I love this series. Like it's the latest entry. So, you may not have that hype, but where are you at with Veilguard right now?
I think I am kind of excited because there's a lot of people in the Discord. Paul obviously is a huge fan of the series itself. You're excited. So seeing everybody with this anticipation and this hype level building for this game coming out, having never played, it is that new thing. It's something fresh, something that I may dive into and absolutely love. So I may love the new mechanics, the new layout, the way they have the game set up, the combat, all of those things. It's all going to be fresh to me, so I won't have any preconceived notions or bias on the series itself or the gameplay. So it's something different, something new, something that may just hit those markers for me. So like we talked about, we know Call of Duty, we know what it is. Yeah, there's going to be some changes. Yeah, the stuff with the zombies are supposed to be good, but we know all that. So it'll be fun. We could check it out, but this for me is just going to be a whole new world, So I think I'm actually pretty excited for it.
It's just more alluring, to say like, I want to see what Veilguard is about. Will it live up to my expectations? Will it fail me miserably? But I also mentioned it this morning in our Discord server where I said, sometimes your brain's just in the mood for a certain type of game.
Yeah.
And right now, like my brain is definitely in the mood for like a good action RPG with like, good characters, good story progression, that kind of thing. Like it's definitely in the right mindset for me to want to enjoy Veilguard.
Yeah.
So I think that's really standing out for me.
No, for sure. And I feel, I don't know if it's comparable, but I just felt so let down by Dragon's Dogma that maybe this might be kind of that fantasy kind of redemption for me for getting that kind of scratching that itch. Cause I've been itching to play something like that I genuinely enjoyed. I've put 5 billion hours into Skyrim and everything else. So, you can only play so much. So getting something new and fresh of that type, may just be what I'm looking for. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. And I know I call it Veilguard. I just love to keep trolling Paul. So
yeah,
and Allie. So.
Let's hope it's not that, honestly. But we have said we're absolutely going to deep dive Veilguard. I'm really excited to see your perspective versus my perspective on that one as well.
Oh yeah,
which as somebody that's never played a game in the series to somebody that has played all of the games in the series, I am a fan of Dragon Age. I'm not nearly as big of a fan as like Paul or Allie might be, but I really do love the series and the gameplay. And so I'm very curious to see that. So, all right, Ryan. Well, one game that I am super hyped for, and I know you could probably care less about, but I don't care, buddy. So we did get a recent, they called it like a character trailer or like the voice act. It's kind of an homage to some of the voice actors. Yeah. But this game called Clair Obscura Expedition 33 released a new trailer that to me looks incredible. We saw a snippet of this game when they did kind of the game announcement and the reveal for the game. I feel like that was 3-4 months ago during one of the summer events. This game to me looks like a Final Fantasy game, but with a really, really cool, like almost realistic art style. And the combat in this game looks absolutely incredible to me. The more I see this, the more hyped I get because it's just right up my alley. I think the thing that might turn you off on this is its turn-based combat. Is that what's doing it for you? Like where you just don't have any interest at all?
Is it my turn now? Can I talk? Is it like...
No, tell me how great Clair Obscura is going to be, Ryan. Tell me.
I just don't know if it's my turn. We got to wait turns on everything now. I was so bummed because I forgot about this and I'm watching the trailer, watching the character you run through this environment. I'm like, whoa, this looks killer. This looks cool. Yeah. The second I see the boss pop up and them all four run up to like a line, I go, oh, come
just
on.
stop and wait.
Man. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. I don't like turn-based combat games. It's just not for me. I know so many people are just blown away by them, love them to death. It's like what they love. But just for me, I just can't do it. I just have never been able to. I've never liked it since I was a kid. I grew up in the era of Final Fantasy VII and all of those great, amazing games, Legend of Dragoon, all of them. And it just does not vibe with me for whatever reason.
It's okay. You got to think in combat when it's turn-based. You know, and
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you don't like that, Ryan.
There's
You
the
know,
problem.
You don't want to use your brain.
Ryan
it's
smash
tiring
button, Ryan hit.
Well, Dragon Age Veilguard, they simplified that and dumbed it down for you, Ryan.
Perfect.
So,
I probably like it then.
They don't want you worrying about your actions per minute in that game.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
I will say for anybody out there that likes, these kind of epic RPGs, akin to the modern Final Fantasy games, dude, you have got to watch this trailer for Clair Obscura Expedition 33. I love, like you said, the world was awe-inspiring.
beautiful.
The graphics are freaking incredible, dude. To me, the combat with the way it uses camera angles and they change really fast, and the animation and the bosses and just everything just screams like uber polished to me.
It definitely looked cool, and that's what came to mind was that's crisp. Like watching their timing of the attacks, and it's like perfect across the screen, and then does some flip attack, and it looked fantastic. I just know that when I play it, I'll just get annoyed and sit there waiting for my attack and whatnot,
Yeah, I got you. All right, Ryan, we're going to jump into a couple of the trailers in the Xbox Partner Showcase that we really got hyped for, but we're going to take a short break before we do that, and we will be right back.
It's Croctober, the official celebration of Crocs fans like you. So whether you like to rock your classic clogs, get cozy and fuss-lined, personalize with your favorite Jibbitz charms, or even, dress up like a clog for Halloween, it's time to tell your story and share your style. Join the Croctober celebration with Crocs fans around the world. Go to crocs.com to discover the range of shoes and find a pair that's iconic like you. Crocs, celebrating you all month long.
Ah yes, the magnificent Trolley Sourbright Crawler, also known as Trollicus brightolus. The worm's captivating neon colour makes it an easy gummy prey.
Trolley!
It's a surprisingly sour, invitingly chewy, staggeringly snackable species unlike anything else found on this planet.
Eat me!
Delicious. Visit Trolley.com to shop now.
Trolley, eat me!
All right, Ryan, I'm not even going to prep it. Subnautica 2, baby.
Yeah!
Subnautica 2.
Yeah!
Oh, my goodness. One of my favorite games is getting the sequel. It's not just a DLC. It's not an expansion like Below Zero was. This is a full-fledged sequel to Subnautica. And I will say, I think one of the coolest things that they confirmed is that this game is going to be made to be played as a multiplayer game. It doesn't mean you can't play it solo, because I know that was one of the things people said is like, do I have to play it multiplayer?
Yeah.
The answer is no. If you love Subnautica and you just want to run through it by yourself, you absolutely can. But dude, I cannot wait for you and I to be able to jump into Subnautica 2 together and just try to freaking explore and survive and figure things out and all that. To me, this was the biggest reveal of the entire show. I'm a little, there's one thing, dude.
Uh-oh.
It's coming out in 2025. But it's only coming out in early access.
Yeah.
And I freaking hate it. Now, they did this with Below Zero as well. And I remember thinking like, okay, I'm not going to play Below Zero. I did follow along with some of the development, but I said, this is the kind of game where I want to just experience it. So I will just wait until the game is released. And I feel like I want to do that for Subnautica 2 because I don't want to play.
Do that.
No, dude, I'm actually really good at this. Like Hades 2. Hades 2's been out in early access for over a year. I have not touched Hades 2 at all. Baldur's Gate 3 was in early access for like 5 years, and I never picked up the early access for Baldur's Gate 3. So if I'm very hyped about a game, I actually can wait for it to come out, even though it kills me, dude. It destroys a little part of me, but I can wait. So now, you played Subnautica. I forced you to play Subnautica, and you liked it. I would say that you probably weren't as blown away as I was, but you definitely found it to be enjoyable. Is that fair?
Oh, for sure. I definitely did enjoy it. The second I watched that trailer, all those sounds came back and were just running through my brain. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, and it kind of gives you those warm and fuzzies. I was cracking up watching it though, just thinking of you watching it and your hype meter going through the roof as you watch that kind of whole trailer setup. But so you're telling me I go and I play Subnautica 2 in open access or early access. You're not going to hop in with me? You're going to wait?
No, you wouldn't
do
that
buy
to
it.
me. You wouldn't do that to me, Brian.
I not only would do that, I'd round up some Discord and we're going to just chat about it. We're like, oh man, that was so awesome. And just hype you up.
Just as I can see it right now is all I get is a message from you, and it's the title screen for Subnautica 2 that says like press start to play. And then I am going to just be a weak man and be like, I'm on my way.
Downloading.
Oh,
love
man.
it. No, I was excited though. I'm pretty stoked. You know me, I'm not a big fan of this open early access stuff for however many years they do it for, a year or two. But yeah, if we can get on the game, I may check in a little early.
I have full confidence that it's going to be great, dude.
Me too.
Below Zero was a good expansion. It wasn't as good as the original Subnautica, but I mean, it was very well worth picking up and playing through just to get some more of that. This is one where it's like, dude, I can't wait for this. The fact that you can play it multiplayer co-op through the whole game only adds to that, man. Like
that's going to be awesome.
And I'm pretty sure they make a mod. I'm sure there's a mod where you can play Subnautica with a friend or something like that. But it's kind of like to have the game designed this way is going to be. I mean, imagine like our Cyclops. It's like you're piloting it. I'm running around like doing stuff, jumping out in the prawn suit. You swing by, pick me up. I mean, there's just so many. It's the kind of game that lends itself very well to that. And so I am very excited about that. They say they anticipate it to be in early access for 2 to 3 years, and the early access will launch in 2025. So we're probably looking at, oh my gosh, 2028.
It's been 84 years.
That's what I feel like on that. All right. And then another trailer that I know really grabbed our attention is a game called Mistfall Hunter that I had no idea. I watched this trailer and I just went, cool, dude, this game looks great.
What is this?
Yeah. And then I was like, cool, dark fantasy action RPG classes. I mean, they showed a wizard, they showed an archer, they showed a rogue, a fighter.
Yeah.
I like any of that kind of stuff. And then I saw a little snippet that said that this is a PvEVP RPG extraction game. I know. That's a mouthful, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went, oh, because but then I kind of also went, because we've seen some of these, right? Like Dark and Darker famously is that type of game. We saw, I think it's called Dungeonborn, right? Where again, it's, we take the fantasy setting with your typical RPG classes and we throw you in this dungeon and you get to fight other people and try to extract with loot.
Yeah.
And I've played a few of these. I played a few of the demos, and they always in my brain sound amazing, but then I just can't really get into them. And I think it's because you pretty much need like friends to play with if you're really trying to get into this game. And I've always just kind of hopped in to just test them out. And I'm not sure, but I do know that a PvEVP extraction game I like a lot. Like there's been a lot of them that we've tried, and some of them have been really good and others maybe not so much, but my brain always wants to gravitate towards like, ooh.
Yeah.
And
I'm the same way.
I was going to say, well, like, I mean, did the trailer get you hyped? I mean, I think the trailer by itself was impressive, but knowing that it's a PvEVP game, does that like do more for you? Are you cautiously optimistic? Are you just hype meter through the roof right now? Where are you at with it?
I would say that, I mean, it looked beautiful. It looked very interesting and intriguing and definitely drew me in. So it served its purpose there. Knowing that's PvEVP and extraction, I would say builds my hype and anticipation, but also leaves me a little cautious and wary. Like, okay, this is another one. Another extraction they're trying to pump out, and push on us. So yeah, I am definitely going to watch this one. Like I said, I thought it was very interesting and intriguing, and it built the hype meter up a little bit for me for sure.
Here's my thing with this, because I've played a few of these games. Famously, the Cycle was our favorite one. I don't think you ever got to play the Cycle.
I didn't play with you guys.
Here, to any developers that might be listening, and gamers, if you agree, you can let us know. You can hop in our Discord server and kind of let us know what you think. The link to the Discord server is in our episode description. But for a PvEVP game to work well, you have to nail the PvE component of it.
Yes.
PvP should be secondary to the PvE portion. And this is where the Cycle absolutely nailed it, was you could do the PvE stuff with your group of friends and have it be challenging and rewarding, where if you were very good at the PvE portion, you could still actually win the match, right? Without a single ounce of PvP. When you make it PvP dominant and the PvE stuff is just a secondary to that, I don't like them as much. And it's weird to me because it's like it just becomes a kill fest. And it's like, dude, I could play any number of games that are PvP and it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nail your PvE components, make that part fun, and then the PvP is just the icing on top. It's the thing that gets your adrenaline pumping, your blood flowing kind of thing, but it's not the primary purpose of the game. That's where you win, in my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want just that kind of setting to where they just, all right, let's just throw some characters in, and then they're there, but it's mainly focused on, all right, where's the other guys? We got to PvP and kill some other people. So make it to where, like you said, you can not see a person and you still had good fun the whole time. But when you do have those PvP interactions, it just enhances it and highlights, that fun part of it as well. While you're still doing, battling this environment, beating the bosses, playing through, whatever you have to throughout that area. So, no, I'm right in line with you on that one for sure.
Awesome. So this is called Mistfall Hunter. It's going to fully release in 2025, but definitely a game I'm going to keep my eye on and kind of hope to see more gameplay and how all the different mechanics work on that one. So, all right, Ryan, we kind of alluded to this. Man, I'll be honest, I don't know that I've seen a more impressive hour-long movie. They're calling this a gameplay trailer, and it's like, well, I mean, they do show off some gameplay. But so the Cloud Imperium, which is the company that's making and developing Star Citizen, we've talked about this a few times. Just about every gamer out there knows about Star Citizen at this point. This game is filled with controversy. It's filled with people that are just instantly mad at it. It's filled with people that absolutely love it. Yep. And I think this game is very polarizing to a lot of gamers because they just don't believe that it actually is going to ever release or even exist in a playable state. I have played Star Citizen. I've been pretty darn impressed by it. It's definitely not done. There's a long ways to go on it, but they have said that Squadron 42 is their solo single-player experience that is intended to introduce people to the Star Citizen universe. You play through Squadron 42, which is a full mind-blowing game, or should be, we should say. And then once you're done with Squadron 42, it kind of leads you into the Star Citizen universe, which is the persistent universe, which is kind of what people have been talking about for the last 10 years, right? As far as, you can just live in this and do whatever the heck you want to do. So at this, they called it CitizenCon 2954. This is where it was a big event. They were demoing a lot of this stuff, and they started to show off Squadron 42. We got ourselves an hour-long trailer that is straight from Squadron 42 that is a full-fledged freaking movie, dude.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was long for sure.
But was it impressive?
I will say that I was impressed. I was definitely impressed.
I was impressed too, and I think that there is this natural skepticism, which is warranted,
for sure,
when gamers see a trailer like this and they go, okay, yeah, but anybody can make a trailer. I mean, how many trailers have we talked about where it's like, oh, this game looks incredible, but then the gameplay isn't really like the trailer?
Exactly.
I forget I can't remember the name of the game.
Yeah,
where it was like the wooden shield and the arrows were breaking through.
And mixing the potions and stuff. Yep.
I can't remember the name of that game right off the top of my head, but that was one where it was a perfect example of like, whoa.
If they could do it, this would be next level, but it's not going to be this way.
Oh, and you mean this isn't actual gameplay? And then they came out and said, well, this was a crafted trailer. And I'm like, you suckers, man. But listen, Star Citizen Squadron 42, this trailer is legit. I've played Star Citizen. Like, it might be running a little bit better than it actually runs in like the beta servers and stuff right now. But everything you see in this trailer is legit from the game engine. You can see some of the space combat and some of the first person shooter aspects of it and things like that. So, I will be honest and say I didn't watch the entire hour-long trailer, but I did watch probably 20 to 30 minutes of it and kind of skip through to different parts and stuff like that. The only thing I'm going to say is if they pull this off, if this game is 70% of what they are trying to make this game, I think it might wind up being one of the most mind-blowing games that gamers have ever seen. Like, legitimately, dude. I know it's hard to believe at this point, and I'm still a little skeptical. You know, even as somebody that has played the game and tinkered around and seen it and, you know, all the different aspects and stuff like that. But if they pull this off and it doesn't run like a potato and it doesn't crash every 30 minutes, this is going to be what I believe is a truly next-gen experience for people. And I know that they are banking on Squadron 42 being the proof that the last 10 or 15 years of development hasn't just been a scam.
Yeah.
You know? And
exactly.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I am in that kind of, we'll see it when we believe, or we'll believe it when we see it kind of thing. But watch this trailer, just watch 10 minutes of it, skip around, you know, but dude, is it impressive? I felt like I was watching a Star Trek movie. It
does give you that feeling. And it's just, I know when I watched it personally, it just blows my mind what they're able to do now, you know, what the devs are able to create and make and the realism of it. I loved the us just getting off of Star Wars Outlaws and the space battles, like, that was awesome. Them manning the starship cannons were awesome. Floating through space, trying to get through the debris to get to a different area. We can get in like an airlock or something, and you're literally jumping through the void of space to try to get to other debris to make your way across. And it looked so good and so real. I was just blown away. So I think, like you said, if it's close to what it looked like there, I think that it's going to do really well. And I know that it's got to probably just be a mountain of coding and so much to file through for something that detailed and graphically amazing. Like, there's just got to be so much they have to, you know, cross their T's and dot their I's and make sure everything's good for it to run properly. So hats off to them if they can do it. But I'm stoked. And everyone that, you know, Disratory famously is our big time Star Citizen guy. You hopped in with them. Other people in the Discord, every time somebody comes back from playing it, they're like, wow, I hope this comes out. I hope it's like released soon. This was great. I genuinely had a good time. So I hope they can do it. And I think they'll be able to.
I am optimistic. I will say that. Yeah. I will say you kind of talked about the floating through space and that kind of thing from Space Marine 2. There is a mission that I actually participated in where you have to do that. And you actually fly your ship up to like this beacon that is basically like a communication satellite.
Oh, okay.
If you want to pull off a crime, you have to shut this beacon down so you don't get the police called on you. And you actually have to leave your ship, float through space, find a way into this satellite beacon station thing, find the computer, hack the computer, which is this big, long process, hold off against any enemies that are in the area because it announces that you're hacking the satellite to everybody else that's in that area. So people will come and try to kill you during that. And then you have to leave, make it back to your ship. And now you can commit a crime in that sector because you've shut down like the communications. I've done it. I've seen it and it works, you know? And so you kind of mentioned that. And the first thing I thought of is like, dude, I've done that in Star Citizen.
Oh, wow.
You know, and actually had it work. So I will say this. It was a little embarrassing because they're showing off this trailer and they're showing off some of the dogfighting and gameplay at this convention, and the game crashed on them during the live presentation, and it was very awkward.
Whoops.
And people kind of went, this isn't a good look, you guys. So we've got a long way to go. So the thing is, they did say, hey, Squadron 42, it's going to release in 2026. I think that's a fair target. We're just going to take the wait and see approach. But if they pull it off, I think this is going to be a mind-blowing experience for gamers as a whole.
For sure. I think it's what it reminded me of and what it made me feel like they're trying to create and what they're trying to do is that type of game where it's a second life for you. Like, remember in the heyday of WoW or
dude.
with EverQuest, where you have IRL, you're living your normal life, but this is your other life. And this is the only game you play. This is what you do if you're playing a game. And I think that's what they're trying to create. And I mean, if they can do it, it's going to be pretty dang cool, man.
As somebody that has been fully enveloped in an MMO like that, and I know you have too, and spent way too many hours of my life living in that world, I do think that there's a very real possibility that the persistent universe of Star Citizen can wind up being that. And if Squadron 42 is good and is the introduction to that universe, I think it's going to pay off for them. Man, if it comes out and it's not good or it's buggy or it flops, boy, is the world going to turn on them. And all these people that said, I knew it was a scam, are going to come out in force, man. So it's going to be entertaining to watch one way or another.
Yeah.
It's we're either going to get a phenomenal game out of it, or we are going to see the gaming industry as a whole just completely turn into a mob against these guys.
History books, most expensive demo ever.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode, Ryan. We're going to wrap it up there. I know we are actually getting ready to play some more Outlast Trials, which
spooky.
I'm pretty hyped for. So, we're gonna end this recording and then go hop into that. But if you enjoyed this episode, remember to leave us a review, rate us 5 stars on your podcast app. We mentioned it before, but our Discord server is over 700 gamers strong at this point. It is the best gaming community that I have ever seen in my extensive existence on this planet. Yeah, like legitimately. So, come join us. You can lurk, but their conversations and the game chat and all that is awesome there. The link is in the episode description. If you've been a fan of this show for a while and you say, man, I love listening to you guys, take a minute and just maybe consider supporting the show. We couldn't do this without people supporting us and keeping this podcast going. If you are so inclined to give your time and maybe just a pittance of money, you can head over to multiplayersquad.com and sign up there. It really does help keep this show going and bringing it to the world. We also say thank you in a lot of different ways, like early access, ad-free episodes, Discord perks, and things like that. Plus, you get a shout out, man. Who doesn't want to hear their name shouted out to the world as being an awesome person? So, but that's it, Ryan. Let's go play some Outlast Trials. And until next time, everybody, happy gaming.
Just run!
Oh my God, save me, Ryan! Save me!
See ya!